everybody, this is Matthew Movies coming at you with my review of The Conjuring, the 2013 horror film that I personally think is without a doubt one of the best horror films of the last decade and of a long time. I think this movie just absolutely kills it. The amount of mood that it gets into it is just fantastic. I thought the direction was just amazing. James Wan just kills it. I thought the shots were fantastic, and there's so many sequences that just absolutely work to perfection to draw you in, and the characters are all well written, and the casting, I mean, there really isn't very many missteps in this movie at all. I mean, I thought it was extremely effective in pretty much everything it does, led by the, I mean, just absolutely fantastic duo of Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, I believe is how you pronounce the last name, Farmiga, who play the Warrens, a couple that are exorcists essentially. That they take on these cases of supernatural things happening to people that are just absolutely frightened to death of what's happening, and they'll come in and first off they'll try to ascertain if they're legitimate or if they're just being hoodwinked, and then once they figure out if something is legit, they'll try to help those involved. I thought the characters were extremely well written. I mean, they came to fame as the Amityville couple, but I thought it was really cool to have this film where they looked at other stories that are supposedly things that they took part in. And I mean, in real life, I don't know 100% how much I buy these things that they've said that they've done, but just the concept is fantastic, and just the idea that there might be even the remotest legitimacy to their stories is absolutely frightening. And I thought that they were both great in this movie. I mean, they completely, throughout the film, made me completely let go of any skepticism I have in real life of the actual people. I mean, they completely commit to the roles, and Vera Farmiga especially is just very affecting, and when she is frightened on film, you're right there with her. I mean, throughout most of the film, she is kind of your eyes and your ears. Patrick Wilson, really, essentially, his character is much more of her backup and her backbone, and he's there for her, but she's the one that has much more of a connection to these things, so she's much more integral to the story, and that I think holds true throughout this entire film. I mean, there are definitely male characters that I think are very interesting, but it's the females in this movie that I think are much more important to the story, and much more compelling. I mean, Lily Tyler, who plays this mother of a family who has been under the assault of this being, is absolutely great in it throughout the entire movie. You just absolutely feel for her, especially as a parent. You completely understand what she's going through and her desire to protect her kids, but also her being at wit's end because they don't know what to do. They've moved into this new house, and they put everything they have into it, so they can't just necessarily get up and leave. But at the same time, I mean, there is always the part of me that's like, well, I mean, yes, you're going to be destitute or whatever, but if you feel like your kids are, their souls are in peril, then, you know, there's more important things. But, you know, putting that aside, I mean, I thought her character was extremely effective, and then where you see it go, where, you know, she is this person who absolutely wants to protect her kids, and then gets put into these situations where she may not be the best for them to be around. I thought was extremely powerful, and her performance just, there's something about her where she feels so exposed and just so legitimate, and it's just, I mean, great. She's like an open book, which I think is fantastic. And you have Ron Livingston, who plays her husband and the father of this family, and I thought he was great. I would say of the leads, he's probably the least impressive. I think he plays the role as written as well as anybody possibly could, and you definitely feel for him, where the amount of powerlessness that he clearly feels, and just not knowing how to handle things, and at the same time, like, you know, wanting to protect his kids, wanting to protect his wife, like, I mean, just, you can completely understand where he's at, and you can definitely relate to him and understand. Like, I mean, I'm a dad, I'm a husband. If I was in his situation, it would just be the most horrific thing in the world, because, you know, he can't protect any of the people he holds so dear, and that's great. But at the same time, I feel like his character is definitely underserved by the story. But, you know, that's not necessarily a flaw, because the story's just not about him, which I think is perfectly fine. You have Joey King, who plays the child that is the most affected, I should say, by what's happening to them, and sees things as clearly, and is the target of this being far more so than the other sisters. I mean, the other sisters, this family is made up by the parents, and just they have a bunch of daughters, and the sisters, they're all great. I mean, Kids Floyd pops up, other actresses, they're all solid for sure, but Joey King definitely walks away with it for as far as the children are exposed, and I think she definitely holds her own. I mean, the whole family all together. I mean, you definitely come to care about them. You want to see things work out for them, and I think that is extremely important to this movie working, and they definitely knock that out of the park. I mean, there are sequences in this movie that I think absolutely are so effective and stick with you, and are haunting after watching this movie. I mean, just the moment early on where Vera Farmiga's character sees a body dangling that had hung itself over Patrick Wilson's shoulder, and he doesn't see it, but all you see when they cut back to him is you just see these feet dangling behind him that have clearly been hanging there. I mean, that's right off the hop really gets you into this movie and makes you completely understand what sets them apart as characters, that she has this connection to a world that he doesn't at all, but he's there for her, and he understands and he believes her, which is such an integral part to their relationship. I thought that was extremely effective. You have the whole sequence with her where she's looking in the music box and kind of looking in the reflection of it to see the being. I mean, that is such a tense moment, and just like where it's moving. I mean, you're just waiting for something to pop up, and speaking of the being, I mean, the moment where you actually see it really for not the first time, but one of the first times where you actually just kind of see it out and out, where all of a sudden the Joey King looks up and it's on top of the wardrobe and jumps. I mean, that is definitely a jump scare, but it's as effective a jump scare as there is. And there's another jump scare, the whole clapping thing, where they set up this whole idea where they have this kind of Marco Polo style game where the person who's looking for the other people claps and they have to clap back, and then later in the film, all of a sudden, just she's looking down into the basement trying to find her kids, and the spooky hands coming and clapping. I mean, it's silly in some regards, but I mean, it's just so fearsome because even after watching this movie more than once, when you know what's coming, it's just this exhilaration just comes over you. It's just absolutely evidence of how well this movie works, and that's the thing. At the end of the day, I think everything that this movie tries to do, it pulls off, and kudos to everyone involved. I just think this movie's awesome. So those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below what you think, if you're a fan of it, if you hated it, if you think it's underrated, overrated, whatever. Other than that, please hit that like button, hit that share button. It makes it much more likely that other people come check out this review and let me know what they think, which would be awesome, because I love talking to people about movies, and I'd love you to be one of them. Speaking of which, if you are new here, you just haven't done it yet, please hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you can come and join the conversation, which would just mean the world to me. And aside from all of that, have yourself a good day.